Captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Race and Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom. Back east, producing like he always does, it's Danny Otto. What's up, guys?
What's up? You did find your glasses?
I did. It's just that I put my glasses on top of my book bag, and when I left, I just pulled the book bag. So I had a good feeling that the glasses were just inside the car. But I thought, what if I pulled them, and before I closed the door, the glasses came out with them? And knowing my luck, the latter would be.
But those aren't your prescription ones,
No,
right?
no. I got to take those back. They did my new ones, and now I got to look and see, and hopefully the new ones are better.
If you were to have lost those sunglasses, where would that put you in the scheme of losing sunglasses? Like at 6 or 7?
I'm past 5. Between 6 and 10.
What about cell phones?
So I'd say
6 and 10?
Yeah.
God damn, dude, that's like $3,000 worth of sunglasses, isn't it?
No.
Close? 2? At least 2.
Well, I don't think
Back
I've
in the
ever
day,
spent more
Oakleys
than
were like
3.
300.
Yeah,
right?
3 times, let's say 2,400. So probably closer to between 1,500 and 2, I guess. And not all of them were like Oakleys or Ray-Ban or whatever. But, well, shit, now I can think of just the ones that went in the ocean in Carlsbad, and then a bunch at the softball fields, and then recently the Ray-Bans that I had that were really nice, really cool. Lost those. So yeah, I was about to tell you I'm not gonna remember how that goes, but I just remembered like 5.
What's one thing that you've lost in your life that hurt you the most? I have one that hurt me the most, and then one that I think hurt someone else the most.
All right, go ahead. You go first.
One time I just had
Lost.
like $250 that I just randomly lost. I have no idea. I can't, like, you have your little thing where I picked up my book bag. I don't even have that. I don't know where the hell it went, but that was one. And then the one that I know at the time for me probably didn't hurt too much, but Grandma had gave me this gold ring, and so I put it on, but it was too big, and I was just a kid going out to play at the softball fields, and it fell off, and I could not find it anywhere. And at the time, I felt bad because she had literally just given it to me.
Right.
But I could tell Mom and her really felt bad that happened.
Wow. Okay, so you're going that route. I would say sentiment. So I don't think I've ever really lost anything that costs much, other than like a bet on a game. But I don't think that's where you were headed. So between the glasses and the phone, I remember one time I think I lost the phone the same day I bought it, or the next day. So that one hurt just out of stupidity.
I love that phone. It was
like
that blue phone you got.
I think so. Yeah.
The
I was
flip
like,
phone.
come on, like seriously. So that one stung just because of the stupidity of it all. But I think there's probably been some jewelry over the years of the sentimental value that I misplaced. Although I think Mom found a bunch and put it in a safe deposit, so I think she's held on to quite a few that we've left back, like behind or whatever. So ask her about that. But Yeah. Other than that, it just goes back to like bets, which the bets could trounce any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Just big big bets out there that. I remember one time I went on tilt. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah. At the Luxor, the first 4 times I went to the Luxor, I won. This was in the early '90s. So I thought, that's my spot. I don't lose at the Luxor. 2 of those were trips where I had gambled elsewhere, and I go, I'm just going to go to the Luxor and win it. And because I was in with us, swagger, and pulled it off, it even convinced me more that I was bulletproof within that pyramid. Told my buddies and everything. One of them, I think they came along for the ride. Saved us all. So that was my spot. And then we get to a trip, and I think it's myself, Woody, Squid. Can't remember who else. But for some reason, I think Boyd was on this one. I don't think Gabe was on this one. And we're just getting fucking thumped everywhere, up and down the strip. But we were staying at the Luxor, so I knew. In fact, I think there was still 2 days left. I think this was Friday only. And I thought, on my way in up to the room, I'll just stop by and either put a dent or get it all back.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys came with me. So they each give me like $250. We pile up like about $1,000. I go in there and I battle, start to get up, turn around, give them like the old eyebrow, like, what do you think of me now? What do you think of me now? And they're like, putting their hand on my shoulder, like, get them, And all of a sudden we start to get back to even. Oh, come on, Dan.
We were scariest.
We were almost there. Come on, you can do this. I think one of them was even rubbing my neck. Come on, you can get them, Start to go up again. All right, this is it. And then all of a sudden we just got to a hand where it was you have to split it. I think it was 2 8s. And then the dealer even had a 6. The worst thing he could have. And so we had 2 8s. And then 2 more, split it again, another 8. But we had the money. Put that down. Another 8 came by. Even the dealer's like looking around going, wow, this rarely happens. Mm-hmm. We're licking our chops because she's showing a 6. And we know that one of those is going to be a double hand. That's what you want. You want these. You can't just trade back and forth because you have to win your splits and your doubles. And if you don't, then you're just not going to have a winning session. But when you do, So now the 8s are split. I think we all had to dig in a little bit just to kind of have enough for the rest for the other one. And I think the first one's a 10, 18, stay. The next one's an ace, stay. That's 19. The next one, we got the old 3, 11. Damn, we all got to reach in our pocket again. Boom. And we tell them down. We don't even want to look at it. It'll give us a heart attack, honestly. So we figured keep it down. That way if he or she busts, you never even had to look at the card. Whereas if the card comes back and it's a stupid 2 and you're sitting there at 13, you're like, oh, my God, I'm about to get drilled, So always tell them down. And then the last one was whatever it was. I don't know.
Well, was it good, though?
I don't think it was. I think it was like a 9, a 17,
All right.
So really, like, we could be in some trouble if she flips over a 5, a 4, a 3. We have to start sweating a little bit. Nope. Turns over a 10, which is 16. That means they got a hit. And we're just licking our chops. In fact, I think it was like a 5. And we were like, oh, no. Because now she has 11. And then another 5. Now she has 16. We're like, yes. And she's doing it slow,
She's toast.
Yeah, she's doing it slow. Pit boss is kind of coming over. He's telling us he's rooting for us. He's going to write us a buffet afterwards. Mm-hmm. We're all like.
Did you tell him you just came back from her?
Like, we are the world, kind of like arms around each other. Just ready to high five and cheer and chest bump or whatever was in back in the early 90s. And just to play it up, dude, this is how painful it was. I think it was like a 5, 11. And then I think a 4, 15. Uh-huh. Then the next one, and then she was doing it slow. It was an ace. That made it 16. So we were like, oh, no. But we were that much closer to her having more cards that won't help her.
It's making her worse.
Yeah, and then, boom, I think it was like a 4. I think, like, it wasn't 21. It was 20. And we just, like, we literally just collapsed.
Wow, how much money was in there?
Like bowling pins. We just fell down. I don't know, because I think we had gotten it up to, like.
Like, what it cost you? What would you have?
So we had built it up to about $15 15. We came in with 1,000. We built it up to about 18, 2,000, and I think it wiped us out.
Damn.
So we were up to like 400 or 500 a hand with the splits and the doubles, and so that one I just remember going, wow. And so those guys go, oh man, you know, time to go to bed. And I played dumb. I was like, I'm gonna go grab a drink and take a leak. I'll join you guys. And I was thinking maybe they're the jinx. This is the Luxor. This is my spot. And dude, the other 2,000-3,000 I had, I lost it all.
Oh.
So literally,
Fast or did you battle?
No, it was pretty fast. It was really fast.
Your Chevy Chase?
Yeah, and so I clearly remember that one because it broke my heart because it was the Luxor. 2, because I was on tilt and I just couldn't believe that I fell for that. I should have just went to bed with the other guys. And it was, it was a lot of money for me. So that one was painful.
Wow.
And
does it hurt talking about it right now, or is it funny now?
It's funny now, but I mean, reliving it, I just remember. Well, there's been a lot of those, but this one was one that had just those circumstances that I named. But there's been a lot of them where you're like, oh, this is the one, And there's been a lot that we won, but on this particular one, I just remember the Luxor. It stung me. I mean, I was just like, how could you do that to me, Luxor? And then George, how did you lose all that on top of losing your swag? And my friends were like, they turned their back on me, like when Dutch lost in the karate tournament.
Oh yeah.
And all of the Cobra Kai just turn around.
Yeah.
And just start looking at the other match. They basically turned and said, we got to get out of there.
Like Sonya and Can't Buy Me Love.
Pretty much, we're gonna go.
I don't know you.
We're gonna go upstairs and just crash, And that's why I wanted to prove them wrong, because I wanted to come up and say you guys lost faith or whatever. And I think I put down 1,000.
Did you tell them that you got
1,000
crushed?
went quick. Hell no. The 1,000 went quick, and then I pulled out the 2,000. All right, we're gonna make it all back right here, and even that went quick. Like, it was a beatdown. That part I do remember. It was like 21, 20, 19, 18. You know what I mean? Bust. But I could not. It just all was downhill.
That puts you like in a depression almost. When
It
you
was
leave Vegas.
and it was Friday. I still had Saturday and Sunday, and so I think I had to wait till Saturday to pull out, like, I think 180 that I had. I didn't even have 500 to pull out. 180 that I had, and then I just kind of like had to make it last and just be low man on the total pole with whatever we did, borrow a little bit, and so those crush you so much. It literally takes you like probably 3 months of paychecks just to recover your savings a little, pay back your homies, and all that shit.
The Cromwell is my spot. That's my Luxor.
Yeah.
But I haven't been crushed there yet.
You've never lost there?
No.
Retire from just the Cromwell.
I am after this story.
Leave that as the place that you got the best of.
Yeah, when I drive by, I'm just going to take that sweat off my brow and flick it at them.
Do that.
I'll never be back.
Yeah, that would be the learning, the lesson here. This past weekend we had 2 events that I want to talk about. One championship that did have theirs on Friday, but I looked at some of those fights and those results, and I appreciate Brandon Vera and everything he's done in our sport. But to come back in 2 years and just the level of competition, I'm not as impressed. But yeah, he did, and he got
that
the
guy
win.
Was throwing,
and that's that. You know what I mean? But I don't. Without those guys having, I was telling this to who? To Sean. That's right, from Fight League. I was a guest on his show. Without having these steps, these road to the titles, when you just tell me sit down and watch this fight, and I don't know what it took to get there, like the blood, sweat, and tears that it took to get there, I just observe it as just a fight. You know what I mean? But I can't get into it like I do, like when it's like Dos Anjos and Usman. I mean, all the ups and downs that they've had. Well, really, Usman's had an awesome career yet. He's yet to really have a down. But you know what I mean? Like these struggles, these uphill struggles. That's when the stakes are so high for whatever reason, money or titles or whatever. That's what gets me going, the blood flowing. You know what I mean? That's what gets me pumped up. And so that's what I was trying to explain to Sean yesterday. I don't know if I did a great job, but it's in no way do I mean a disrespect to some of these promotions. It's just that the UFC, Bellator, and then after that some PFL, they consume so much that whatever's left, you're arriving late to the party. You ever arrived late to the party? Everyone's drunk. All the inside jokes have been told, and everyone's laughing, and you're just like, I don't get it, you know. Oh man, you should have seen here 2 hours earlier. You spilled the a bottle or whatever. Yeah. A bottle of Cuervo, and we were all laughing. You know, I mean, you're just late to the party, and that's how I feel sometimes with those guys. I can praise everything they have, which like those 2018 signings of Misha, Demetrius, and Eddie, you know, across different platforms. Misha more on the executive role. The other two, they're going to fight. The app is awesome. I love Lauren Mack. He's so cool and so passionate about his promotion, you know. But then after that, there just seems to be a fall-off of what else can keep me there. Meeting Bibiano was one of my favorite in studios, believe it or not. Angela Lee was super cool. So, but that's it. After that, you start to fall a little bit. You know
can't
what I mean?
just watch it for those fights. Like, do you have to watch the whole?
Well, they're all spread out. You can, but
that's what I did. I just watched the last two fights, and because the app actually woke me up, and I was happy. I was like, oh, it's a good fight.
Yeah.
This is how I look at it. I agree with most of what you're saying. I don't like it though when it's an older fighter, because back in the day you would see like Eddie Alvarez, right, and he'd be battling in whatever Dream Sengoku. And maybe he was fighting someone that didn't really matter or something, but I knew that was the build-up to the story of getting him over to another promotion, right, here in the United States. But when it's an older guy like Brandon Vera, he can amount as many wins as he wants, but we're never going to see him come back this way. We know he's going to finish over there. So there's really nothing to it. It's just kind of like, it's just old school, just watching two guys fight. I'm okay with that.
It's got to mean something
but you're
to
not
me.
You're not going to drag me to the arena to see that.
I want to see the best fighting, you know, in the world, and that's the one good thing about when you tune into the NBA, the NHL, MLB, or pro football, is usually those leagues have about 30 teams. So even the worst team is still an NFL team. I mean, these are billion-dollar franchises, and so that's what I want to see is just the best. So if Eddie Alvarez is ranked back when he was fighting for Dream and having those wars, if you just told me, man, he's top 20, 25, he's young, look at his style. I mean, I was getting into it. Joachim Hansen, you know, there was some guys out there, regardless if they were in the UFC or Pride, if they were just in another promotion but they're spilling their guts, and you told me, you know, whatever rankings are out there at the time, that this is where they stood, you had a good chance to reel me in. They got to back it up with having a great fight, too. You can't just be the number 18 guy but not be fighting anyone, you know, because I'll start to research it. I'll start to research it and check it out. But, you know, they just don't do that. Maybe they'll get to it someday, but until then, I just move on. And believe it or not, we'll build up to the UFC. Let's talk Chuck and Tito. Okay. I mean, describe your emotions.
I thought that kind of almost stood out more.
In a way, it did, man. Twitter was talking way more of that than one this weekend, but
I wasn't going to order it, and it wasn't that I was so against the main event. It's just the whole card just didn't pack it too well. It was okay.
I'll give them a pass because it was show number 1.
Yeah, we can do that. When the two guys walked out,
but let me say one thing though. But De La Hoya, the press conference when he was like, "Oh, it's so cold in here," and he's calling Chuck Liddell Chuck Liddell. I did go back and watch that. And there just seems like a confusion. He seemed unprepared. Like the words weren't flowing out of his mouth like I've seen other heads of council or whatever talk about something that should be passionate of theirs, a passion of theirs, you know. Look, I don't expect you to know the whole card, but come on. The main, the co-main, those should be flowing, you know. And any key name out there, like Nescudero and Gleason Tibau, I mean, they've done stuff. And so that already put me like in a mood where you know whatever. But all right, let's keep going about ordering the fight.
When they finally came out.
No, I don't want you to get to that yet. Get to why you didn't order it.
I didn't order it because as a complete card, it just wasn't interesting enough.
Okay.
Like I kind of wanted to know what would happen just because they're different fighters now.
Right.
I mean, Tito had a little bit of an advantage going through, so I thought, all right, is it going to be enough for him to get over the hump? But the whole card in general, with everything else going on in life. 4-day weekend,
right.
It just wasn't enough to make me sit there the whole day and watch it.
Okay? So let me jump in before you get to the fight too. Then we get to the fight, and fight day, and I tweeted, someone either talk me into this or talk me out of it, because I love MMA. All right, I had kind of seen a lot of football already between Thursday night and Friday, Saturday, and a couple of my fucking teams put me in a bad mood. But shout out to Modern Day, they put me in a great mood. But still, I'm sitting there, and I don't know what to do. But 3 days earlier, those guys said, Black Friday, you know, it's $19.99, and like an idiot, I read it to a national audience that we have on SiriusXM, to our YouTube audience, to our iTunes audience, to anybody that, you know, listens, however they listen, whatever platform. And I'm saying, oh, look, they're going down from $49.99 to $30.99. And then we talk about, hey, maybe I can consume it now. It's a little bit better, you know, because those are two icons and they hate each other. And they got a couple names here or there. I don't want to get, you know, we're doing all that. But check it out on Black Friday 20. I think we all said fist pump. We're in, right? And I gave the time, 1 to 3 Pacific. And I started seeing Twitter. Hey, did you have any luck? Facebook as well. Did you have any? I didn't have any luck. This, that. Well, now they're saying 30. I didn't like that. That rubbed me the wrong way because I was going to give them my $20, and I was even going to tweet it and say, hey, everyone, this is what I did. Join the party. Let's all chat on fight night. And so that got me in a bad mood. De La Hoya's attitude at the press conference. I heard he didn't even show to the weigh-ins. So, or just, he wasn't there as a promoter, like in the middle, you know. So right away, if he doesn't give a fuck, it's not helping me give a fuck. No, I kind of don't, but all these little things are nipping at me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a little snag in your sweater, like, God damn it, you know? And so we get to it, and I'm about to press it. I don't know. A few people are saying yes. Twitter's getting me fired up about why they, you know, some of them are going to do it. And I really wanted to consider it goes, and then at the end I just said, I'm not going to do it, man. That the price thing, and a few junkies telling me don't do it, you know, and I just said I'm not gonna do it.
Well,
I'll read the results.
You had asked me like throughout the day, you go, hey, are you feeling this fight or something? And I could tell you were that guy that just needed somebody to go, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I didn't want to give it to you because I knew I was the guy earlier in the week that was just saying no. We do it too many times where we say no and then we end up doing it. Right. So this time I wanted to take a stance. That's why. But I was more on the side. I wanted to do it.
I was more on the side of the fence of buying it. So all the person, you know, the id and the super ego, whatever, all he had to do was go like this, flick.
Like if I would have said, hey, I'll get Chipotle if you get it, that would have put you over the edge, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Or
I didn't want to do it because I just wanted to have that stance. That's what we said, right?
Right.
But if you would have done it to me, I probably would have said yeah, too.
Yeah, and so, all right, so now we decided we didn't order it, and I'm watching these updates. And by the way, I did bet some fights, so I'm watching, I'm winning, I'm losing, same old GG. And then we get to, I guess, the main event, which I think we've all seen by now one way or another, so let's just talk freely. What'd you think?
It was I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun just because there was a part of me, there were different games that were playing out in my head, and early on I was thinking, all right, Tito's going to take him down and just destroy him on the ground. I really didn't think Chuck had a chance, okay? And then
because of the videos.
Because of the videos, okay. Yeah. And it's been 8 years, just, you know, that alone. But him striking with him for a while, then that game started playing in my head where, wait a minute, are you going to fall in love with your hands? And then he's going to catch you and everybody's going to say, why didn't you take him down? So I was playing that game in my head. So before I knew it, I was having fun. I'll put it that way.
All right, we'll stop there. Jan, did you watch the fight in any way?
Yeah, I did.
Right. Sum up your feelings from start to bottom.
I came in late. I was trying to get a bet in on T-Bow when I saw that line was so low. No offense, Escudero is no scrub, as anybody listening to the show knows. But Gleason T-Bow was out there looking like Tommy Toehold had a tweet there, had me rolling. It looked like final form Donald Pleasance, which is the guy who played the doctor in the Michael Myers movies.
Right.
Yeah, Dr. Loomis. And yeah, so but yeah, no, I caught the main event in time. But the co-main event, I should say, is when I tuned in.
That was Lawler, right?
Yeah, Lawler versus Wynn.
Okay.
Looked like an enlarged Mike Easton. Remember that bantamweight? That looked like a giant-sized Mike Easton, but small for that division. But a badass, you know, Daniel Cormier's guy. And then main event, yeah. I mean, I didn't have the same emotion as Goes. I had that like, not like a Jenga, but like if you have like a stack of dishes and it starts teetering and you're like, oh, that's how I felt like from the start, because all the speculation you could have made on Chuck's pad work aside, it didn't look good when the fight started, and you was just like, this is not a good sign for this guy to get his legs underneath him. And Tito, you know, Tito's been improving his hands, for a minute now under Jason Perillo, and I actually not only did I pick Tito, I actually wasn't going to be surprised if he did it on the feet. So I didn't have that optimism for Chuck, even though I had optimism for Chuck. I didn't want him. I wanted him to do well. Obviously, it's not that I didn't have optimism for Chuck, but from what I was seeing, I had no optimism, man. It was just, I felt like the dishes were going to crash, and the dishes crashed real soon.
Yeah, and so kind of what you're saying here, I'm watching the fight, and I got to admit, I was excited because these two, what they've done over the years, the presence of them just walking out,
Those walkouts.
the tweets that come with it, and just seeing them again. And you know what? Seeing Chuck, he's living when he's walking out to a fight. Tito's just recently done that, so I think Tito's not far removed from those emotions. But Chuck's living, you know what I mean? Like, it's been 8 years, and he's going out there, and he's doing his thing. And so as far as gambling, I didn't put too much. In fact, I stayed away from both guys. I just said, you know what? They're just going to go over the 1.5 rounds. So I wasn't too worried about who was going to win. That's what I did to quell that. And as I'm watching the fight, I'm just going, okay, now this is about the time where we find out if all that bullshit you hear behind the scenes, all these videos are true or not. Let's find out. Let's see.
Right.
And for the first 30 seconds, I thought Chuck was like not parrying, but just feeling out distance. And I thought, can he still uncork that right hand? Does he still have that? And around that time is when he threw a combo that just had no pep in it. And I thought, wow, the videos are true. And not only is Chuck probably going to lose unless he catches him with a counter shot, he's either going to lose on the feet or the ground. Well, I was thinking the whole time, if Tito takes him down, it'll be ground and pound, and then that'll be it. But now I'm seeing how within 36, I'm going, okay, Tito's going to beat him on the feet unless he gets countered. And because that's all Chuck had. It just wasn't Chuck. Yeah. And I'm on the side that if you're going to pay someone $250,000 plus pay-per-view, and he's passed all the tests, then God bless him, let him go get it. Because if someone wants to pay me $250,000 to do that, I'll do it, man. That's my down payment to a house and a bunch of other shit, right? So why stop him? But I gotta admit, man, as I'm watching it, I guess I was just bummed out that Chuck was in that position. And that's me assuming that he really needs the money. Who knows? Maybe he just wanted to fight again. Who are we to say, he spent it all? I don't know. I don't know what his wife does. I don't know what he does. Maybe he does do well, and we just don't know it. But that's what people will say. Oh, yeah, he spent the money. He needs it. People say that about Connor. And Connor's an uber millionaire. But whatever.
Look at Jordan. He went to play baseball. He didn't need the money. He just does shit like that.
And look at Floyd. People still say that about Floyd. But regardless, I can't assume that. It was sad to see a guy that was a shell of himself go out there. Even though he was living, even though pre-fight he was happy, the face-offs, talking smack. And I will say, by the way, if you hear him talk, he's not mumbling like a lot of people have been exaggerating that he has. I thought he gave his thoughts and opinions about the fight, pre- and post-fight, well. So I didn't see that. But what I did see was that, whether it's a right or sorry, it's just a simple jab or a cross, whatever it is, if you hit Chuck, he's feeling it, man. And so now we get back to the health and safety of Chuck Liddell, the guy we've all loved seeing for so many years. Why did it get to this point? That if he did it, he had to do it for the money. That's the part that was sad. Seeing him fall, and the way he falls, man, is just, it's so sad. He crumbles, and then the couple follow-ups were pretty vicious. But look, I can't lie and say that I wasn't entertained in the sense of like prior to the KO, I was enjoying the they say you can cut it with a knife, the tension or the the excitement, the electricity. That part I was into because I wanted to see who was going to win and who was going to lose. Tito, of course, wins. The commission won't let him do the gravedigger stuff. He's able to jump up. And then at the end to see the classy part between the two of them.
I want to talk about that.
Was pretty cool because I think it got overdone. Like I thought Tito thanked him, and then Chuck looked at him and kind of gave him a nod, like you're welcome, like thanks for taking the fight, you're welcome. And that's all I needed. Everything else was just like, hey, let's put more, cherries on the sundae and whipped cream and all that. I just kind of need to see the respect and a little bit of that, a little bit here and there, because really this wasn't one where I was like, save it for the fourth fight. I don't want to see a fourth fight, and I was good that it kind of ended that way, and that was that. It just sucked to see Chuck just so, the way he spilled.
Rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to catch up in any way? Because I want to say other stuff. Go ahead, guys.
I just want to talk about what you brought up, and it's what happened after the fight.
Yeah.
I thought Tito said all the right things. And when they said, all right, thank you very much, Tito Ortiz, that should have been it.
Mm-hmm.
When he came back, I mean, it's Chuck's moment now. It's his opportunity to say what he needs to say.
Jesus Christ.
And when Tito came back,
oh,
it was
Jesus.
like, stop, dude, stop. He's saying nice things, but he's making it sound like it's about him again. Like, don't forget about me, and just let it go, man. Let it go.
Yeah, it was. I thought you were gonna say you didn't like it because he instead of stopping, he came back and started encouraging Chuck to fight more. Yeah. Like he should be able to fight more, which was another thing you could have argument with. But you just reminded me. Yeah, I definitely have issue with that. That's just been a classic Tito thing, always taking people's moment. Remember like that Forrest Griffin fight? Like he completely stepped in on his post fight interview. I remember UFC 84. I think he lost to Machida, but took over the whole press conference. They're trying to ask BJ Penn, the champion who headlined the thing, questions, and they couldn't even get questions the other guy because it was that whole that's when he came out with the Dana is my bitch shirt on the weigh-ins for UFC 84. So it was about him, and I don't think Tito gets enough credit. I think as far as new age fans, he gets crapped on a lot. They don't realize all the amazing things he did for the UFC in the dark ages. 100%, but man, I can't defend Tito when it comes to that crap. All I want to say is, how do you guys gloss over those walkouts? Were those the most ridiculous? They didn't have the visuals of an FNG, Russia card, where we have an orchestra playing and some wasp lady floating down from the rafters. But I mean, what a way to commemorate Chuck Liddell coming back for the last time by having some trap music that sounds like that Trevor Noah skit about trap music.
Did he pick it?
I hope not, because did it say dick? Was that? That's what I was hearing. And I went to Twitter and people were going dick. That was the opening for the Iceman's walkout.
I just figured they picked their music.
That is not the way I didn't want to picture the Iceman walking out.
They can play whatever they want, but but to answer your question, walkouts, I rarely I'm just not an observant guy, and I think it has to do with maybe that's that last second I'm probably getting a bet in or a tweet in,
right?
And so I'll miss it when someone goes, man, did you see so and so got their hat taken? And I'm like, really? Oh, okay, I didn't know that, or whatever. But anyway, let's take a break, and then we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more of that. If you want to join the conversation, it's 866-522-2846, and yes, we will talk about the comeback wins by. Career comeback wins by Francis Ngannou and Alistair Overeem this past weekend at UFC Fight Night 141 in Beijing, China. But for whatever reason, I had a feeling Chuck Tito would be a better place to start. So I'm glad we did. We'll come back. We'll put a little bit of a bow on that and then continue. And also, Rafael dos Anjos will join us on the show as well.
charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
If you want nothing but NFL talk, head to NFL Radio, Channel 88. They're discussing the Vikings' Sunday night win over the Packers, and if Aaron Rodgers can get his team to the postseason. Key injuries, including the Chargers' Melvin Gordon, and how the playoff picture is shaping up. It's all on NFL Radio, Channel 88, and streaming on your phone and at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. All right, we're discussing the stuff that took place this past weekend, including one championship. Brandon Vera held on to his heavyweight title. He defeated Mauro Sorelli with a KO punch 1 minute into that fight. And then for the vacant one lightweight title, Edward Folayang defeated Amir Khan. Obviously not the Amir Khan who
the boxer.
boxed, right? I don't have facts and figures in terms of gait or attendance. So we'll move on. Golden Boy MMA is another topic that we discussed. Tito Ortiz defeated Chuck Liddell, KO with a series of punches, 424 into the first round, 7,839 in attendance. I don't have the gate, but we were able to get the payout for Chuck Liddell. It was $250,000 plus a percentage of pay-per-view buys. Tito Ortiz at $200,000 with a percentage of pay-per-view buys. Hello, Matt. Deron Wynn defeated Tom Lawler in the co-main event. Leeson Tabao defeated Efren Escudero in the featured bout. Ricky Palacios over Willel Watson. James Barnes over Albert Morales. Jay Silva defeated Oscar Ivan Cota. Other winners include Johnny Cisneros, Fernie Garcia, Josh Wang Kim, John Wang Kim, and Juliana Miller. Guys, before we kind of move over to what happened in the UFC, any more thoughts on Liddell and Ortiz? I think it's pretty clear none of us want to see Chuck fight again. What about Tito? Oh, and I do want to say one thing. It seemed to me, Goes, I also thought he was talking to Chuck about, hey, if you want to fight again, great. You know, we're building something. Tito was almost making it sound like he's got a share in the company and come fight for us. But then it looked like what he was saying was work for us. So I don't know. I wish we can get clarification on if he meant, hey, work for us to help build it, be an ambassador, we'll pay you salary or in some capacity. Because I definitely really don't want to see him fight. You know, and again, this is coming from a guy that says, hey, if someone will pay him, go out and do your thing. Nah, man. These punches just, I mean, he's not going to wake up one day, guys, and I don't want to get to that. I saw him be able to collect his thoughts and talk normal. That's how he should spend time with his family. He's a killer. He's one of the greatest ever, one of the most popular fighters in the UFC ever. Let's just kind of like leave it at that. Have that memory. I think we can have that. And I think Chuck definitely is so popular that hopefully he can find a way to support his family still without having to do this.
I'd be in for another card if they can
with
build.
Chuck?
No, not with Chuck.
Oh.
But I assume because they asked Tito, "Is it your last one?" He kind of gave that smirk, like I could maybe have one more. Trying to think of like I don't know, Vitor maybe if you're gonna stick to these legends. They fought once. That was a fun fight. I was actually there.
Interesting.
It was only 3 rounds back then, but I would pay for that if I would pay for Chuck.
I don't know. Lots to unpack there. I'll just say I don't care to see Chuck fight again. Obviously, Tito, from what last interview I heard, it sounded like he was only coming out of retirement to fight Chuck, so I don't think we have to worry about him either way. As far as the promotion goes, I think they failed so many check marks that I can't honestly say that I would want to see that again. Do I want to see another top-heavy boxing event that's not even treated with the care of a boxing event, if we're being honest, where you can't even get the fighters' names right or know who's on the card or show up at the weigh-in or come to an agreed price or even set a reasonable price in the first place? You're making Chuck Liddell walk out to Dick. By the way, shout out to the combat chat, or the chat on YouTube, which you can go and join. Shout out to them, but only shout out because I asked them like, hey, am I alone here? Am I the only one that heard Dick? Because I could have swore on my timeline on Twitter I wasn't the only one that heard, and no one responded in the chat there. So I don't know if they're not listening to the show, they're just having their own convo. But
they're in their own world
semi shout out to you guys. But I just making Chuck walk. The point is making Chuck walk out to that. Like, what the hell are we doing here? And then the commission trying to get in the way of Tito's great. It was just a S show. So I'm gonna say no, and no on all those.
You don't want
fronts.
to see no more Golden Boy MMA.
I'm good, man.
Okay.
We got too much MMA. Unless I mean, and I'm also curious to see the purses on the smaller guys to see what they were doing there. But I think that'll drive it home for me. I don't care. You can pay these big guys all you want, but if you're not going to come right correct on the card or the fighters underneath it, then I'm sorry. I'm good.
Yeah, you know what? The whole fight card wasn't available for the purses. Let me see. This was.
But it's
Golden.
It's California, right?
Yeah, they revealed.
So they have to do it. I mean,
Golden
we
Boy
can figure it out. In
MMA
other words,
salaries.
but
We should be able to just to see what kind of a ballpark they were in. Okay. Here's one thing I do want to say. Whoever their production team was, there was a point where it looked like a video game. It looked cool.
Oh, you're talking
the
about
blue
the stream,
canvas,
right?
And Chuck and Tito looked really crystal clear. Almost better than I've seen some, if not all, UFCs.
Right.
They did something right on that, where I was like, wow, I'd love to see the fights like now. I don't know if it was the way the cameraman was positioned, the cameras they were using, the broadcast. I don't know. I don't know. I just remember going, Goes, is it me or does that look sharp? And he said, yeah, man, that looks sharp. So I don't know, man. That was, I hope they can keep that. Yeah, I'd say you're right, man. Golden Boy MMA, they look like they were maybe trying to make a point. You know, those guys have battled for so long. Oscar and Dana just look like two people trying to like make a point. I don't know that Oscar's future is really in MMA. I mean, he did get 7,839 to show up. I don't know how many paid for it. I don't know what the pay-per-views will be like. But surprisingly, a lot of people on social media bought the pay-per-view. I think it was for the love of these guys is what I was seeing. It was more towards the guys rather than I really want Golden Boy to, you know, set up shop here and be a part of the future. So I guess we'll see. I mean, the way Tito was talking sounds like more's coming.
Well, who would you want to see in the second one? If they keep that
Tito
same
fought,
theme.
Vitor was an excellent choice, Goes. Where did you read Liddell versus Vernon Tiger White? You
Man,
sure you didn't get trolled?
I thought I saw. Well, that's what I was asking you because I wasn't too sure. I just saw it like on my timeline
Yeah.
but I saw it from a checkmark account.
Yeah.
But I think it was like Instagram or something like
Okay.
that, and I went, "Wait a minute, is that a thing?" That's what I was asking you.
I don't really want to see Shamrock and Hoist.
I don't want to see Shamrock anymore. I don't want to see Hoist no more.
You know, it's funny because I'll tell you, I am the devil's advocate. I was thinking, I guess it's because they deserve it, but like if those guys go out and make 200 grand like Hoist and Shamrock, we're not going to see in any way a high-level fight. And, like, why not pay that money to other guys that are going to go out there and give you a really, really good fight, you know? But then again,
because I don't know,
like I
people
say,
pay for it.
that's the thing. That's the hook. It's the draw to get you in, and they put in their time at the right time. So, whatever. I'm ready to turn the page. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Now, let's talk about Blades and Ngannou 2. In the main event, Francis Ngannou dispatched of Curtis Blades really quickly. 45 seconds is all it took. And now Ngannou's 2-0 against Blades. And Ngannou looks like he's back. I would like to see more than 45 seconds to really feel better about that statement. But look, he got the job done on a guy who's been a beast since losing to Ngannou. Since losing to Ngannou, Blades went out and defeated Olenek, Hunt, and Overeem. You got some strikers, you got some grapplers, you got some ranked opponents. He traveled, far for one of them. He headlined another one. I mean, he put in his work. And I thought Blades was headed for an eventual title shot. And Ngannou was coming off a year. 2018 was not kind at all to Ngannou. But almost a year ago, he blasted Alistair Overeem in Detroit, Michigan. Then 2 months later, he fights Stipe Miocic and did not look good. Then he fights Derek Lewis and looked awful. So 2018 was terrible until these past 45 seconds of his career, in which he just went out there and he staved off a takedown. It was only one, but still, he used his athleticism, his strength, some technique. Nope, you're not going to take me down on that one. And then they're just sitting there, and all of a sudden, boom, he uncorks a punch. Wasn't the cleanest punch, but it put a big 6'4", 260-pound Blades on the ground. Blades tried to recover. Referee was bumping into them, trying to stay out of the way, trying to get in. He can't decide what he wants to do, but still, I think he made the correct choice to give Blades those chances. You know what I mean? Because it looked like Blades was grabbing a leg, and then all of a sudden he just started taking some damage, and the referee said, enough.
I think he knew what he wanted to do. He just wasn't assertive enough in it.
Ngannou?
No, the referee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's why it gave off that, like, whoa, am I in here? Am I not?
Right.
I mean, granted, they are two heavyweights, but it's really difficult to say whether or not a guy's back when you only see 45 seconds worth of work. But what I will give him credit for is the one thing that we all felt he was lacking was confidence. And that part of his game seemed like it came back. So I'm happy about that.
Dan, I don't want to cut you off. Give me about 30 seconds, and then we'll go to break. What'd you think? Just give me some quick thoughts.
I didn't think it was a terrible stoppage. I didn't like the matchup to begin with. It wasn't a good matchup for Ngannou. Now, he won, but for everybody saying, see, I told you so, he won, pump the brakes, because like Ghost said, we don't even know how much he's gotten to. And, you know, at this level, you're just going to get thrown right back into the heat of things. Ngannou's a good guy. I would like to see a steady build. He already got too much of a fast build at the top.
Yeah. All right. So let's take this last break. Then when we come back, we'll continue unpacking the headline bout between Francis Ngannou and Curtis Blades. We'll see what's next for each guy. And then we can talk a little bit about Alistair Overeem, who also got a win on the same card. And it looked like Demolition Man. He had a big smile on his face. He kind of looked like Alistair of old as well. So we'll talk about that. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
That one goes. Now, feel their wrath.
Get the radio channel numbers and a link to listen to your favorite NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, or NHL teams sent right to your smart device. Just go to SiriusXM.com/sportstoday and click Add to My Calendar. All right, if you want to join the queue, it's 866-522-2846. Call in, share your thoughts on this past weekend's action, whether it's the One Championship card featuring Brandon Vera defending his belt out, his heavyweight belt out in Manila, where he lives now, by the way, or Chuck and Tito at Golden Boy MMA 1. I think that's how they called it. I don't know how they're going to call it going forward. Or UFC Fight Night 141, which featured Francis Ngannou defeated Curtis Blades. It's the second time they fought. He's given Blades both of his losses. Right now, let's take a quick call from Marco in Waco, Texas. We're up against the clock. Well, now we have enough time. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
¿Qué pasa, dudes?
How you doing, my man?
What's up, Marco?
So, first things first, happy birthday to my baby girl Angelica. She turned 3 on Saturday. Yay.
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, hey, full disclosure, they know what Chuck and Tito didn't care. And I let that for Oregon worry about those Japanese cards. But I did get up early and watch the fight in Beijing. The leash looked good, man. That sidekick, impressive. Wow. Wow, the leash might start making some noise in the welterweight division. So you're done, 20-year-old. Keep an eye on that dude. But we got to talk about Overeem and Ngannou. I'm glad that they won the way they won. And for Ngannou, I would like the winner of JDS to Ivasa next. That makes sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
for
That's a
Overeem,
good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Alexander Volkov. That would be a good fight. 2 elite strikers, and let's figure it out. That's all I have to say for today, guys. Peace out.
All right, we'll
Well,
see
it
you.
seems like Overeem already wants Derek Lewis. And,
He does?
man. Yeah, he put something out.
Because he
saying,
said he wanted
"Oh,
Ngannou again, too.
But
I don't think that makes sense.
I mean, when you look at Overeem and what's happened to him throughout his career, every time he gets a win, I say, good on you, man. You're collecting a really big paycheck. You made it out okay.
Yeah.
But we all know that career is going to stop. And when it does, it's going to be ugly. And those two fighters are guys that can make that really ugly.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny, though. I would argue that Volkov will be a tougher match. Although I co-sign Marco. Great matchups there. But the ironic part is, I believe Volkov's the more skilled fighter, would be a tougher match. He wasn't favored for Derek Lewis 2.5 to 1 heavyweight odds for nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think the thinking behind that is, I think we see kicks and distance strikers and body shot guys, what they can do to Derek Lewis, and I think that just has Overeem salivating. He just sees a path there. Derek Lewis is hot. But I think what goes into our mind is just those brutal knockouts Derek Lewis produces, and we could see Overeem on the back end of those. So yeah, interesting.
I would say I'm of the belief that Cormier will still fight Lesnar. So to me, it appears Miocic is looking for an opponent. Unless he just waits out the winner of Lesnar, or not even the winner, because if Cormier wins, I think he just sails off into the sunset, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like he's got to take another matchup. Who it's going to be, I don't know.
Miocic, Derek Lewis?
Miocic, Derek Lewis.
Man, poor Derek Lewis.
Maybe that might make sense.
He never gets an easy fight.
But I feel like Derek was going to take a lot of time off after finally getting a great paycheck and fighting so frequently. I felt like we weren't going to see him until mid-next year. All right, I'll tell you what. I'll keep this open. We'll keep throwing some names out and see what else makes sense. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. And if you want to get in the queue to participate in the show by calling in, it's 866-522-2846. Do it.
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin. That's actually really what I meant to say. I don't know why I said the big dummy. Yeah. All right, cool, good stuff. So listen, how do we figure this out, man? Luckily, Cormier's at least letting go of that other belt, because I tell you what, he was kind of hogging up a lot of things way at the top, wasn't he? If Lesnar doesn't come back, I guess Miocic gets the shot. Cormier, the only thing he can say is, you know, I called the shots, and maybe he feels like
it's been kind of warm.
He doesn't make more money than. I think he still makes more money, probably. They can't give Ngannou a shot, not off 2 losses.
Hell no.
They're not going to get Overeem a shot. So it would probably be Stipe or Lesnar for him. The only person I could see sidestepping that is Jones. He beats Gustafsson, says, I want to go for 2 belts, and I want to get it from DC, and just pokes the bear because it's within the frame. DC doesn't have to lose any weight. DC gets a chance to right the ship a little bit. Jones gets a chance to really pour it on him. So I could see that for some reason being a strong possibility.
I could see that happening.
But one I want to just leave to the side because I don't want everyone's heads to explode, you know, with that possibility.
Golden Boy Promotions 8, I think, is when that fight will happen.
Cormier versus Jones. As far as, see, I'm trying really hard to partner up guys coming off a win versus guys coming off a win, guys coming off a loss versus guys coming off. But I'm realizing that the heavyweight division is really tough to do that because Minikoff and Lewis are both coming off losses. Blades and and Blades. Maybe Blades and Minikoff. Miocic is technically coming off a loss, but you could just say, well, he was a great champ given the instant rematch. And then you got guys that are coming off wins, but they recently lost to Miocic, and so they really don't deserve a shot at Cormier.
Your formula, the one you put out, is basically the only way it can go down.
I do like the winner of Dos Santos and Tuivasa getting a big fight versus someone coming off a win who isn't fighting for the world title. Now, there's also, have you guys seen these tweets? It was about 2 weeks ago. It was either Josh Thompson or somebody just said, we might be close to a deal with Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, I saw
that. Would make things exciting because I think you can just plug him in somewhere. What's he technically working off? A win or a loss? A win, right? Travis,
a destructive
Brown.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could put him in somewhere. But either way, happy for Ngannou and Overeem. Just they're 2 good fighters. I did not want to see Ngannou working off a 3rd straight loss, and I really can't remember what Overeem's done as of late. I just know he's kind of like he's past his prime. You know, I just don't know if he has anything left to really threaten and be a world champion. He's with a new team. That was pretty cool, I guess. But
he does that a lot, though.
He does do it a lot. Yeah. Let's take this call. Showtime in Tennessee, and then I guess we'll talk about the daily debate as well. We have Rafael dos Anjos coming up here in about 30 minutes, so still time to take a few more calls, share some more thoughts. I can go down the results of UFC Fight Night 141 in Beijing, China. What's up, Showtime? What's up, bud?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Showtime, man.
Oh, man, what a weekend of fights, man. I want to start this off, man. I was talking to a couple other guys that, what's her name, Lauren Mueller, man, killed a lot of our parlays this weekend, man. I still ended up winning some, about $700 on some chump change. And then, check this out, LSU. I was waiting on LSU, man. I started celebrating, man, when they poured water on the coach. And I'm like, yeah, baby, I think I may hit an extra swig of the beer. And then I was like, uh-oh, this don't look good, man. When I thought the guy was sacked and they ended up scoring, and I'm like, come on, man. I'm sitting there about to shit my pants, man, looking at this 7 overtime game, man. I'm like, oh.
Bro, I had them on the money line, and I had the Bills on the money line the next day. And I think there may have been a third. If the right games win or fighters win in a certain way, I could have had a good weekend. But I did a lot of 2 and 3s, 2 and 3s, 2 and 3s. But a lot of my money lines were hitting. That's why I can't stand it with my buddies bet teasers, because I'm like, you need the teaser when I don't even need the points, and you can make so much more money. You know what I mean? But whatever.
Do they win?
Sometimes,
if
but
they win,
but traditionally the teaser bet is really, really a sucker bet traditionally. I wish I could tell you more about that, but yeah, that's just how
One day.
that's just kind of how it is. Yeah.
Man. I mean, something told me, man, when I was just sitting there making my parlays, I'm like, okay, I like Mueller, but she's like kind of over aggressive to, almost kind of wild a little bit, her fighting style. She's real super aggressive, man. But I so the chick that submitted her was only a white belt. That's what somebody told me. I don't know if that was Gabe or somebody told me, man, that the chick was only like a white belt.
Yeah,
she got submitted by.
Yeah, she got her blue belt in the ring after catching Mueller. That one hurt me, man. I only had one parlay. It was a 7-leg. I had all legs except that one.
Really?
But that's what I get for betting chick chalk. I mean, that's why I say these girl fights are like heavyweight fights, and people are like, they get confused. They think you're talking literal. Like they're going to knock each other out. Like, no, the swings are just as heavy. Not because of the knockout power. It's because their sample size is just all over the place. I mean, especially these regional talents, it's so tough. We saw it last week in South America. You go look at their tape on these regional fights. They don't even know how to throw a punch. And we haven't seen them for a year or 7 months because, the UFC only dusts them off to fill in these shows. And we get complete different fighters. So, yeah. Her wildness definitely did catch her, so that was more my bad on me and anybody else who was on that chalk.
Who was your parlay? The other 6 that you hit? Do you remember any of them? Or?
Yeah, I think I took like shoot. I think I took the other female chalks that hit, and I took some other ones too. I sweated out Rashad Coulter versus Hugh Jiaozong, and I took Smolka. And the last leg, which it was done by then, but was Ngannou Blades didn't go the distance. I had that on there, so I was happy either way.
By not waking up on time, I had Jingling, I had Overeem.
Okay.
And
I had Overeem straight.
Blades. It was a simple 25. I could pull it up. 25 to win. Let's say. Let me see. I have. It was about 25 to win about 120 or something like that.
Okay.
So less than the 6-1 because I had some favorites. But what I would have done is I would have played 25 on Ngannou so that way I couldn't lose. You see what I'm saying? I'm winning either way. I'm just winning more. All it would have done was been a profit of like $50, $75. But I'm saying it because times that by 10 to anyone that plays big money. Now you're guaranteeing yourself a profit of $500 or $750. And you don't even have to sweat out the last fight. I wind up doing that a lot because I've told myself years ago I'm a lifelong gambler. This isn't my last card, so it's not like I have to do it all and go out in style.
Right.
And I liken that to when I was younger and you came to Vegas, you weren't coming back for a year or 6 months. So you're gambling at the airport. Your friends are pulling you. Come on, we got a flight to catch. You're doing the last hand. And that's it. This was before Native American casinos really blew up or – gambling on your phone or any of that shit. So when you did that, you're like, all right, if you went out in a blaze of glory on your shield and you got hammered, whatever. But now it's everywhere, and there's MMA cards everywhere. So, like, if you don't see something you don't like and you really want to do a 3-leg parlay, do 2 this week and do something the next week. And you just got to sit out and wait these days out. You know what I mean? And that's something I've started to do a little bit more because the fights just keep coming. They keep coming.
Yeah, no shortage of those.
There was Golden Boy MMA. They had some fights available, So, yeah, that's it. Just a little bit of advice.
Yeah, man, it was a tough night, man. Then my nephew and them, I ended up watching their game, flipping back.
How do you do?
Well, actually, I wasn't flipping back. Man, they ended up losing to Boise, man. They lost by, I think, 2 or 3, man. But he played a solid game, so. Now, I guess the second leg of my vacation will be coming to Vegas for 232, and then wherever he plays in the bowl game, and I'll be, hopefully it's in Arizona, Arizona, Florida, somewhere warm. So, good season, 10-2. You can't complain about that.
Oh, it's a great season.
Yeah, it is a great season. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling.
Hey, but
what's up? What's up?
No, man, I just want to talk about how stiff Chuck looked, man. Chuck looked stiff as hell, man. I had some friends sitting there with me that really weren't not into MMA. They were like, man, how old are both of those guys? And they were like, damn, he looks stiff. Because, Chuck, he never just been like a real fluid fighter. He always had that kind of stiff, like street fighter,
right.
Style. But he looked super stiff Saturday night, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think Tito looked that bad, except for that high kick that he threw.
Oh my God, that's right. When he threw a high kick, and it was a really slow like windmill. It went all the way around, and we always joke around, but there used to be this internet sensation named Bloodstain Lane. And the funny thing about that guy was, he talked a lot of shit with a New York accent. And granted, sometimes you disagree with something he said, and sometimes you agree. He was just funny. I got a kick out of him personally. And he'd pick fights with fighters and all that. But one thing he was funny about was making fun of himself. And so he would always throw hands. And he had this video where he'd throw hands, and then all of a sudden he would do this high kick that was so slow. And now goes and I'll say, God, this guy looks like Tito looked like Bloodstain Lane when he threw that, And I know that if Bloodstain Lane were to hear it, he'd even laugh. But yeah, what was he doing? That one was slow. Just
because he's thrown it before and it's never looked like that.
It took forever by the time it wound up, and then it actually came back. And I think the fans even like clowned a little bit, like woo, like. But yeah, just both guys, they've just considerably slowed down. But I'll tell you what, Tito's 43. Chuck's about to be 49, so it's almost like 6 years. I don't know when Tito became 43, but I'll tell you what, man, something must happen in those last 5 years because there shouldn't have been that much of a disparity.
And Tito just came off another surgery, right?
I don't know. You can't keep track because he'll go, I think that's it, guys. I'm retiring.
C6,
and then about a year,
C7.
they'll go, hey, Tito, you're back? He goes, why wouldn't I be back? I just had surgery. I can move my neck. Look. L5, L6, C7, C8, C12, whatever.
Playing Battleship or something.
One of his kids have it memorized.
It's like, he goes, and now I can move. Now I can pick up my kids. And then he just gives you're sitting with the microphone going, oh, my God, I just asked if you're coming back or not. But he'll tell you why he can do it. But that's just his style. That's just his style. And then now I feel great. I can do a camp. I wasn't able to do a camp before. That wasn't me that you saw. I can memorize all the lines. All right, see you, Showtime. Thanks, man, for hanging in there. Let's do the daily debate. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do the daily debate today. Let's see if I got it up. I do, man. Here's the question for today, guys. Today's daily debate question brought to you by the MMAjunkie Radio team. Are you happy about Israel Adesanya being booked against Anderson Silva at UFC 234? Yes or no is the answers that we asked of the audience. But I'd like you guys to expand. Dan, Tom, you take this one first.
Listen, I understand this is the circle of life, but do we always have to celebrate it so much? I mean, aren't these guys going to get old and fade off on our own? Heck, we were just reminded of it, not to timestamp this too much, we were reminded of that fact this last weekend, that the legends do go somewhere eventually, and it's not the best place when we get to see them inside the ring. Now, Anderson Silva can still win fights. He's still crafty. I'm not trying to over-dramatize it by any means there. He can still win this fight. I don't think that is that crazy. I think we've seen crazier things in MMA for certain, but I don't dig this, man. Especially, I get it, like, oh, the old versus new, and it sounds like Adesanya is excited about it, which he's going to have to be. You got to be careful. You can't get into you can't be too fanboy and too respectful. Anderson Silva will take your lunch money in there. But am I excited about it? No, I'm not excited about it. I'm doing the math. I think I know where the probability of that fight heads, and we see it all too much. Do we really have to, see it at this level against one of the best up-and-coming guys? I don't know about that.
El Gos
likes it. I'm down with it, and I think because everything is so clogged up at the top right now that I think there needs to be a little bit of time for that to unravel before we can get this guy in the mix. I don't want to see him fight a guy like Costa because I want to see them both fight for the title and then eventually fight each other that way. So I think this is something that kind of keep him busy until that happens. But like Dan said, careful what you wish for because it's still Anderson Silva. Mm-hmm. I kind of wonder what Anderson Silva thinks when he sees these matchups because he was always the other guy on the side of that matchup,
I
right?
know.
He's got to hear that
Diaz.
and think, wait a minute, what are you guys trying to do here?
Exactly.
And if you piss off a guy like Anderson Silva, come fight night, man. I don't know if I want to be on the other side of someone like that.
Right. So I just wish Anderson had been fighting more frequently. He like fights once a year, once every 18 months. That way I could also feel a little bit stronger than you guys do about, hey, be careful what you wish for. Like, I think Adesanya is obviously going to win, but I think Anderson could really give him more of a fight if he's just, aside from the 43 years old, he's no longer a champ, the losses that he's had as of late, he just seems to be in a fight even when he loses. And but God, this one's going to be 2 years removed by the time he fights. That's when he fought Brunson. So I just don't like his chances. As far as like old guard putting over the new guard, I guess this is what it is. I know I'm all over the place here, but I also was part of me. I guess it kind of worked out, but you know I like these cards that have insurance. Is Adesanya also insurance? If something falls apart at the top, he gets elevated. Silva just gets a check. Hey, thanks for training. You know, be on your way or what? Or we still get a Jacare announcement coming out. I don't know, man, but I'll take it. That's what they want, is a yes or no, and I'll take it, so I'm under yes.
But just the crazy, just to retort here, I mean, since it is a debate, that's the crazy thing. We're talking about keeping Adesanya busy. We're talking about insurance for the middleweight title, promotion, Adesanya, middleweight title, keeping busy a schedule. We just named 4 things that don't have to do with one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters that we should be respecting, god dang it. So that is why that's why I kind of find it ironic. We're talking about all these things, and none of them have to do with Anderson Silva. He's definitely the B-side here, and that is a crazy time.
Not only does he deserve your respect, but when you think about it, who's another guy like Adesanya that came out of nowhere, showed promise, right? Can you guys think of a heavyweight? Francis Ngannou. And then what happened to him, right? You never know, George. I'm telling you, this could be the guy that does that to Israel, and all of a sudden we're all thinking, oh, man.
But that was Stipe in his prime that did it to him.
It's still, though, man. Still, it's a tough guy. Anderson Silva's a tough man.
He is.
Every time he loses a fight, most of us are saying he beat himself in that one.
But had Anderson just fought 6 months ago, win or lose, wouldn't you feel better about it? Like, he's in camp. I mean, that's a lot of rust to shake off, you know, against a guy that's just
it'll be fun come fight night. When you hear that music, it'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, here's how the voting came in. 1,157 came in. 65% said yes. 35% said no. So that sounds about 700 yeses and 350 no's, or I don't know. Don't call me on the math. but you know, a good sample size of hardcore MMA fans sharing their feelings. We appreciate that, Junkie Nation. That's the day of the debate. Brought to you, by the MMA Junkie Radio team. All right. Continuing on here, I do want to give some final stats on the fight card that took place out in China. I didn't even give out the bonuses. So the bonuses.
I'm sorry. Oh, no, go ahead.
Alex Morano and Kenan Song. The performances of the night went to Francis Ngannou and Li Jingliang. I call him Jingling. The attendance was 10,302. I don't know what the gate was, though.
Did you guys watch you guys just watched the main card, right? Or,
I just watched the main card. I think
did you catch more? 3 fights.
3 fights? Okay.
Yeah.
I was a psychopath. I stayed up and I watched this from start to finish.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I thought I was going to, but I just messed me up for my Saturday though. That's for sure. But surprise, Dan Tom is unhappy with the bonuses, but I didn't like these bonuses, man. I'm sure George will read off the results here, but for one, I believe there was a fight that was clearly better than the fight that got fight of the night. For 2, the fight that got fight of the night, I don't think on any metric deserved to get fight of the night. No disrespect to those guys. I just don't see how that would qualify. And for 3, we had a lot of strong individual performances. I would have loved to have just seen them do a 4 performance bonus night. So on 3 different kind of layers, I really got to critique their bonuses once again on how they're doing that. I think they're just rushing when they do these things. I don't get it.
Do you have the names off the top of your head as to who you thought maybe deserved these?
Did you mention Willie Zhang to other people? I guess just the normal tongue. But no. She had a really strong breakthrough performance and announced herself, I believe, right underneath Tatiana Suarez as the 2 contenders of that division. That's how strong it was. We knew she was strong on top. We knew she could strike, but she was able to catch I believe she even she was just like diving for guard, chaining submissions, like went from a triangle, from mount, dropped back to her back, changed it to an armbar. It was awesome. Was she one of the performance of the night winners?
No, it was Ngannou and Li Jingliang.
I mean, I understand giving it to Leach for sure. He's awesome. That's his crowd. But the females, especially female Chinese from that market, again, double check marks there. Not making a lot of money, could use a push again.
That's what I don't like. I don't like when they give it to someone just because they're higher up in the card.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to go through, stereotypical check marks, well, this guy won. He's from China. We're in China. We want to promote that market. She fits all those check marks, too, but more so, she really needs that that push. I know 115 is actually one of the stronger female divisions where they're not really lacking names, so I'm not really trying to beat that drum too hard. But again, anybody knows what the F they're watching. That chick is talented, man, and she's going to be coming up.
Which one did you like for Fight of the Night?
Fight of the Night? Let's see here. We got... I don't know if I would have gave it Fight of the Night, but I remember there were fights that were more deserving. Zawada Li Jinglang, even though it wasn't Fight of the Night, but I would have argued was about their same level. Rashad Coulter, actually, Hugh Yaozong. Maybe I was sweating on that one because of a bet. It was ugly, but that one had like more back and forth as far as what you're typically looking for. Lu Ping Wang versus Martin Day. That was an also entertaining fight. I would argue is just as, if not more entertaining. And I want to mention that one too because Martin Day and another gentleman who and the guy who faced Song Yadong, Vince Morales, those guys both lost in the Contender Series, but both looked really good in defeat. Martin Day lost a controversial decision that he probably should have won in the Contender Series, whereas Morales got choked out unconscious, Holly Holm, Misha Tate style, in a Fight of the Night, you know? So they both had, their stock went up after a loss. They come into the UFC, they both lose on this card, but I would argue their stock went up. Vince Morales gave Song Yadong a heck of a fight. A lot of hype on Yadong right now, and Morales was, able to stay afloat despite what, Yadong was doing. And, whereas Martin Day, he lost another controversial decision, man. A lot of people were throwing the robbery word around this one. It was so strong. 2 clear rounds, I felt, for Martin Day, and he loses the third one and then somehow loses that decision. So that was a real bad decision there. So that would have been nice to give them Fight of the Night as well because it rights the wrong as far as the loss. But, again, so this is my kind of quick thoughts on the perspective of the card. A lot of good stuff to unpack, but not always represented in the way they give out the bonuses.
We got to take a break, but I do want to ask you something on the way out. What is your criteria, guys, for these bonuses? You go first.
Criteria is it's got to be, well, for Fight of the Night, I like back and forth. But that's pretty obvious. For KO, I mean, it's got to be something that we don't see every day in every fight, something that stands up. When you watch SportsCenter, it always drives me nuts when you get to that top pick and it's a guy making a great catch in baseball. That happens every day. Give it to somebody, something that you don't see every day. I mean, back when Gerald Harris would power bomb people, stuff like that, for the big KOs, the great submissions that we don't always see all the time, that sort of thing.
Okay, I'll say this. I heard what you guys said. I don't care if it's at the top or the bottom. Like, you're right. It feels nicer for someone that needs it to get it, but I don't really discriminate that too much. What I do look at, though, was it tougher to submit her than for him to knock him out? You know what I mean? Like,
that's part of it.
Is that a guy that's got 50 fights and no one's ever knocked him out, or someone that's never been submitted? So I kind of take that into that.
That's very fair.
How about you?
Performance of the night, I think it's easy. We're all on the same page there. Fight of the night, something you guys mentioned. I need swings and momentum for that. I need swings and momentum for anything. I don't like one-sided fights in general. The deciding factors, though, the 2 deciding factors, one is card placement for me. I do understand that the UFC clearly does not have that caveat when it comes to a close decision because they're giving it more often than that to the big guy. And another thing, again, what I mentioned is when we have close things for Fight of the Night, let's say they're all close together, if one of those had a really bad decision and the guy gave his heart out, especially in this age where, let's be honest, we hear a lot less about this backroom bonus talk, guys. I don't think, I would venture to say it's not as big, and they don't get as much treatment as they did back in the day when it was kind of more Mob Fertitta run, where they'd make it right. Hey, we make it right here. I don't know if there's that much of that going on. So a way they can do that is, like, again, what I said. First of all, the Song Yadong, I remember that fight now, that Kenan Song versus Alex Moreno. I'm pretty sure Alex Moreno just outclassed him the whole time, and it was just one guy getting frustrated while the other guy outclasses him. It's not a fight of the night. A close fight or a competitive fight, especially like Ping Yuan Liu versus Martin Day, and then the wrong guy gets the decision. Well, a real easy fix there. If you don't want to battle some commission, why don't you just give them the Fight of the Night? The Chinese guy, he's a hot Chinese guy in the market as far as bantamweight contenders go. We lost the one bantamweight guy who was fighting from China a couple years back. It's a good investment there.
Wolf?
Tian Tran Zhang, I want to say he was 145, but it was one of his training partners, though. Good pull there. It was one of his training partners. I can't remember. Last time we might have saw him was that Benson Masvidal Korea card. But yeah, you give it to those guys. You give it to the tough Hawaiian kid who I hope gets another shake because he just had 2 U.S. The only fights that he's lost recently in his career, Martin Day, was the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series in this fight, both under the sadly,
so you want
but both
him to
should have
get
won.
Fight of the Night.
Yeah, then he gets
not just a bonus for
Yeah, well, one that was even more fun than what got it. And two, even if it was close, I still say give it to them because the decision went the wrong way.
I think what happens, though, the reason you see a lot of top-heavy bonuses get out is because usually top-heavy is like 6 versus 7.
True.
Whereas at the bottom, I mean, we don't do the rankings that deep, but it could be like 50 took out 101. You know what I mean? So maybe that's it.
But UFC
199,
I would say that, but then UFC 199, one of the most stacked cards on paper, super motan. But what was the least accoladed fight record wise according to your scale? And they placed it in the proper way. They opened the card with it. Dong Young Kim versus Marco Polo Reyes, a fight of the year candidate. You know what I'm saying? And they gave it to the right person that one. Now that was a little more clear, but again, that was a stacked night too. There's a lot of good fights that night.
All right. We got to take a break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 83. When we come back, I believe we'll be talking to Rafael dos Anjos, who has headlines The Ultimate Fighter 28 finale on Friday.
Y'all's got me hot.
I get paid to say things in this cool voice, and they get paid to be lame. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Get in the spirit of the holidays with SiriusXM's full lineup of holiday channels. 15 channels of commercial-free holiday music, including Holiday Traditions on Channel 3, Hale on Channel 4, and new this year, the stars of Hallmark Channel present their holiday favorites on Hallmark Channel Radio. That's Channel 70. Get our complete holiday lineup at SiriusXM.com/holidays and bring the holiday cheer into your home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. The word holiday is literally in that read about 15 times, it seems like.
What, holiday?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think I see holiday there a lot.
All right. Moving on Friday, we get the Ultimate Fighter 28 finale, Dos Anjos versus Usman. So that's Rafael dos Anjos, former UFC lightweight, who's moved up to welterweight and been a killer up there, versus Kamaru Usman, who's been climbing the ranks himself. This is a very, very important and pivotal fight with Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington all but set. You got to figure that the winner of this fight could have a say as far as fighting the winner of that fight. Now, these fights can be seen on Fox Sports 1, and you'll also get a dose of the Ultimate Fighter, the heavyweight tournament final, and the women's featherweight tournament final. So lots going on at the Pearl Theater in Las Vegas on Friday. Joining us now on the hotline is Rafael dos Anjos. What's up? How you doing, RDA?
Hello, how are you, man? I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Are you doing the drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas?
Yeah, I'm driving right now. We are on the way.
All right, my man. Yeah, I've done that drive many times. I don't know about for you if Las Vegas is a special city, a vacation city, a work city. Do you like fighting in Las Vegas?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you like fighting in Las Vegas, RDA?
Oh yeah, man. I like very much. It's close to my house, especially with a small child right now. Easy drive. I'm enjoying the. I like the drive. I'm here with the team, and we are on the way, and just having a good time. Good moment all my life with a small child, and
right.
I'm just happy to be on this position.
Yeah, because I've noticed you've almost fought 40 times in your career, but not many have been in Las Vegas. And I know you've lived in California for a long time. So I didn't know if you were one of those fighters that just chooses to travel long distance. You've kind of done a lot of international fights. Or do you even have a say in the selection of where you want to fight?
Yeah. I don't usually pick the spots, that I fight. But this time I decide to Vegas because I think that would make more sense to me to don't stay too long outside of my house. Having a newborn baby, I think it's the best thing to do is fight close to home.
Tell me about your newborn baby. How old is the baby, and is it a female, a male? What's the name?
A baby boy, Roger. He's 2 months old.
Oh, look at you calling him Roger, not Hodger. You're already getting Americanized there, huh, Rafael?
Yeah, usually, I just say that because people get confused, but his name is Roger, but I had to pick a name that would be easy for the Brazilians, It's a common name in Brazil, too.
Yeah, all right. No, I'm digging it. Rafael dos Anjos, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He fights Kamaru Usman on Friday. These are welterweights, two of the top welterweights in the world. All right, Goes, what do you have for RDA?
RDA, on the same topic of the baby, we've had fighters come on before and say, having that little baby around kind of made me a little bit, it was a little bit difficult to be mean in the cage for a little bit, and then they got used to it. Has having a baby affected your fighting career at all in any way?
Yeah, man. Of course, it's an extra motivation for me. Having the baby. I know I'm the only provider for them, and I have to provide for my kids. And of course, man, see that baby every day, it makes me more, and knowing that I have to they need me. You know, I am the one. I am the provider, and you know, I'm going for it.
You know, the one thing that I enjoy about watching your career and how it's developed is how well your wrestling has improved throughout your career. In the case of Kamaru Usman, he's known for his wrestling, but what about his striking? Do you feel like his striking, in relation to yours, do you feel like it's made some improvements, or do you feel like it's been kind of the same throughout his career?
Yeah, I think you know it's a very well-rounded fighter. He's a good wrestler, and he got a good strike as well. And but I feel he's young on his fight career. He's a big guy for the division, but I feel that I have what it takes. I got a complete full camp. I got over 45 rounds of sparring for that fight. I sparred a lot. So different than fight against Kobe. I didn't got the proper training for that fight, and I didn't show up. But this fight, I got the right training. No injuries, injury-free camp. Just ready to go there and prove that that I'm ready to fight wrestlers too.
RDA, Rafael dos Anjos, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He headlines the Ultimate Fighter 28 finale taking place on Friday at the Pearl Theater in Las Vegas, Nevada. Where's the Pearl Theater, George? It's at the Palms here in Las Vegas. It's a great theater, man. Get some tickets. Not a bad seat in the house, and these are two top welterweights. All right, the fight analyst, Dan Tom, he's got something for you. Dan, what do you have for Rafael?
Hey, Rafael. I know you're focused on Kamaru right now, and you're never one to make any sort of excuses, but the question I was going to ask you kind of goes in line with your last comment. We all know you train very hard, and you have really good conditioning, but looking at your pictures in this training camp, you almost look like more toward the lightweight Rafael dos Anjos. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying you almost look more trimmed down. Are you trying to focus more on speed or anything for this camp, or is it kind of like what you said the last time we saw you? Were there injuries that maybe hindered your performance in that regard?
Yeah, I think for this fight, I focus a lot on my wrestling, on my conditioning. I was trying. I'm in shape for a long time already. I've been training. It's been a longer camp. And I'm just like focused on my conditioning as well, being bigger, and for the last fight, I got a lot of injuries on my ear too. That play big against me, with my ear was coming off of my skull, and I got a surgery done on it. Now I feel 100%, and training was perfect. Like I said, I put a lot of sparring. I did a lot of sparring. I'm on time now. I got a good timing for sparring, and I was even doing 5 rounds with 5 fresh guys. In great shape, ready to go, ready to prove that I have what it takes to bring that belt home.
Do you like the change you made a few years ago in building the camp around you versus you being a part of a big camp?
Yeah, I prefer the way that I'm doing now. I get my guys. I get the guys that I think I need to work with, and I think the way that I'm doing it's been better for me.
Mm-hmm. And is it more expensive to do it that way though? And are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think most of the fighters they want to be a champion, but they don't want to expand like a champion. You have to invest. It's a fighting career. Of course, it's a little more expensive, but it's an investment. You invest in yourself, and I think that's important.
We haven't caught up in a while, so I just want to ask you a couple more. We appreciate your time, but what's your favorite or most proud moment, aside from winning the belt, meaning like you beat a fighter that you're very happy that you beat them because you thought, wow, this fighter is very good?
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
which of all the fights that you've had, all the wins that you had, which one are you the most proud of because you felt like, wow, I really beat a tough guy here?
Yeah, I think I like two of my performance. I like when I had my first main event against Ben Henderson. Was a really nice victory. You know, stopping him by stoppage, and that was a good one. And against Robbie Lawler too was one of my, the performance that I more, most nice.
Man.
And and UFC is missing that bonus. They didn't give me fight performance of the night for that fight, so I think they are behind with me.
You mean the Lawler one, right?
Oh yeah, the Lawler one. Yeah, with the Ben Henderson, I won the fight of the night, the performance.
Yeah.
But with the Lawler, I didn't make it. But I think they behind with me on that.
I got to tell you, when you look at your record, you've beaten a lot of good fighters, my man. You've been a world champion. What keeps you motivated at age 34 to go out there and put your body through the ringer? I know the grind is very difficult. Is it now the money, to take care of your family? Is it the competition? You want to wear that belt again? Is it a mixture of all of it? But I guess what's the driving force? Because you've accomplished so much and you've really beaten some tough fighters. I just wonder, I guess at some point the fighters realize, man, I can't do this anymore. And where are you in all that?
Man, I'm a very competitive guy. I love to prove people wrong. And it's my family too, all they have, it's me, I'm the provider, and that's all I do for live my whole life. I didn't have another different job in my whole life but fighting. I've been doing that my whole life, and that's it, man. I love what I do, and I will do with my best as much as I can.
It's really fun to watch your fights, Rafael. I'm glad they made this matchup. I can't wait to see it, and I appreciate the time. We appreciate the time here on MMA Junkie Radio. So safe travels to Las Vegas. Good luck on Friday night.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. See ya. Bye-bye. All right, folks, there you have it. That's Rafael dos Anjos, RDA. He's an underdog in this fight. He comes in at plus 230 or so. Minus 290, but I think we all felt he was an underdog in the Lawler fight.
A lot of times.
He had an awesome fight against Lawler. I couldn't believe when the fight was unfolding, I was like, I did not see that. I did not see that going down that way. I'm glad he picked that one as one of his favorite fights. I think he picked the right two.
Yeah.
But he's had some great moments in a career. And the reason I'm highlighting this a little bit more than other people we have, I thought Rafael dos Anjos was a guy that came along, got some wins, but then a couple guys checked him.
And then he peaked.
Yeah, and then you go,
me too.
and then you think, oh, he's never going to be a world champ. That happens a lot. And then all of a sudden, he basically, fuck you. I am going to be a world champ. Look. And he got better, and better. And then he accomplished some stuff. That should be very motivating for a lot of people in all types of careers out there. Because I've seen that with him, and I've seen it with Verdum. I've seen it with a lot of fighters, but I always partner those two together because they came out of Kings at the same time, kind of. He's no longer there. But still, that was pretty amazing to see. Now, like, I saw Thiago Tavares fight years ago, and I thought, wow, he's got good jiu-jitsu. If this guy can develop some,
I thought he was going to be one of the greatest fighters ever.
So did I, man. And he wasn't able to take his career to those types of heights. But this guy was. Imagine what that feels like to be a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt and for someone to just wrestle you and grind you. And you're like, I can't make up that guy's 20 years of wrestling since he's been wrestling since 5 in high school. And I can't make that up. But you know what? I'm going to find different ways to work around it, develop these hands, develop my Muay Thai, stop certain wrestling attacks, and then put it all together and go out there and still perform. Man, that's commendable.
Damian Maia did it and used it against other wrestlers. That's what's crazy, man.
Yeah, he had kind of that's a very similar. That's a great example. I guess the only thing he really didn't have is that Dos Anjos type of like pow, that crack. Fabricio kind of developed a little bit about that as well, but still, look how far it took Damian. All right, good stuff, guys. Let's take our last break, and then we'll come back and take some calls and bounce. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93.
They taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Get the radio channel numbers and a link to listen to your favorite NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, or NHL teams sent right to your smart device. Just go to SiriusXM.com/sportstoday and click Add to My Calendar. Let's go back to the phones. We got the Clearwater Beach Bad Boys back. All right, what's up? C to the Triple B.
Fellas, Clearwater Beach Bad Boy checking in after a long hiatus, guys. How is everybody?
We're good. My dad was just asking about you.
Well, I figured he'd be getting quite excited as the caravan gets ever closer to the border, guys. I know this is a very tense time of the year, guys, but what I want to talk about, and I could not let go, was my Ortiz-Liddell fight. Now, can we talk a little bit more about this? Can you give me a few minutes on this topic? Because I wanted to wait till the fight was over before I called in the top program in mixed martial arts.
I would say after the hiatus you've had, yes, go ahead and talk. We got about 5 minutes.
Guys, I see these people complaining, they're all irritated, they don't like it, Chuck should have done this, Chuck should have done that. Do we not remember Matt Hughes absolutely pounding Hoist Gracie a few years ago? Everybody thought that was cute. They gave Gracie $1 million. Guys, who looked worse, Gracie against Hughes or Liddell against Ortiz? Which hurt you more?
That's tough to say because
Chuck.
Hughes out-grappled Hoist, and we didn't think that was going to happen.
And Tito outstruck Chuck.
Yeah, but at least Chuck beat him twice.
Oh, true. But I think this one, Chuck was further removed from his great years. Well, fuck, that's a great question.
Here's the thing, though. Chuck could
Is
just
this
say,
the real Clearwater Beach Bad Boy? That's actually a great question.
No. Okay, here's the thing, though. Chuck can always say, he just got me. But guess what? I got him twice.
No, but
as where Hoist
it was a
he has
process.
no excuse. He's got to sit there and go, that guy was better than me.
He outstruck him from beginning to the end. Chuck really didn't do much. I would say that I was left with a feeling of I'd
rather be Chuck.
I was sadder seeing Chuck get dominated the way he did than Hoist. Because with Hoist, I felt like I saw that evolution for years already of jiu-jitsu guys getting smashed. Look at what's the guy we always reference?
Army Batesh.
Army Batesh against Don
But
Fry.
that was against a heavyweight, too, though.
I know, but I whatever. Yeah, it's a good question, though.
Well, guys, it irritated me when I saw all these UFC fans, not necessarily MMA fans. Listen, I would love to see Dan Marino throw a touchdown pass again. I would give anything to see that. I grew up a fan, to see Tito Ortiz do it. And let's face it, guys, if Chuck went in there and he got beat by somebody else, name anybody else, Chemo, Ken Shamrock, Don Fry, it wouldn't have stung as much as all us Ortiz fans. And there are quite a few out there, guys. They did 8,000. That's a lot. I played in front of 8,000 people, guys. That's a lot of people to be crammed into a building for those price tickets on a holiday weekend, guys. That's a lot. But there is a little bit of a buzz out there, and I'm going to leave you with this, and then you're going to let me know where I can listen to this program at, because I'm all over the place looking for.
I got a question for you.
What about? Sure, but let me fire this off, and then I'll let you ask your question, and then if you have any sponsors, you guys can thank them. Real quick, CM Punk in the last 2 hours has called out Chuck Liddell, guys. Would we pay $20
Did he really?
to see CM Punk and
we
Chuck
talked about
at
that.
a catch weight?
It's a joke, right?
Oh,
Come
it's
on.
out there. It's would you pay? Would you pay to see that? I would. I'd drop 20 to see
sad.
Chuck drop him if he could. But fire away with your question for the Clearwater Beach Bad Boy.
So you said you'd want to see Dan Marino throw another touchdown pass. I'm kind of with you to a certain extent. But did you ever watch the 3-on-3 basketball where some of those older basketball players come back and do that? Did that interest you?
Until I knew that there was lines on it, which you could place at the Mandalay. There was lines on those things. But anytime Ice Cube is coaching against Tretch from Naughty by Nature, guys, I'm probably not going to put him. But if Larry Bird and Magic Johnson had their teams and they went after it again, let's say 25 years ago, maybe I would. Hell, I watched Tiger Woods in Mickelson, and I can't stand golf. You know what I mean? But it depends on who they are. But, guys, for Tito Ortiz fans, this was absolutely a perfect way to end it. But would you see Chuck fight again if it was against somebody like CM Punk?
I think he could beat Punk. I'm not saying he would, like 10 out of 10 or nothing like that. But it just seems like a fist connecting on Chuck's face I mean, before that guy, he would eat those for breakfast. So I just, how devastating would that be for him to lose to CM Punk? I don't think it's worth it in one bit. At least to Tito Ortiz, the guy was a former champ. They had the rivalry, this, that, whatever. But no, I don't want to see that one, man. But if it's interesting you brought it up because we talked about it over the weekend. But I'd rather not.
If you want to wash the Ortiz Lodell out of your mouth, just go ahead and watch Hughes Gracie, guys. God bless.
See you, bud. Yeah.
I'd rather be Liddell.
What do you mean?
If you gave me the two options.
Then Hoist?
Hoist, yeah. Hoist's entire career was based on Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and he got out Jiu-Jitsu'd.
Right.
Okay? And it wasn't like it was that far removed in his career where he was like an old man or anything like that. Chuck can just say, hey, man, it got caught. Happens to people all the time. I'm a little slower.
Hoist hadn't fought since 2001, and he fought that in 2006. So he's about 5 years removed.
He's fought out of his weight class, so you can't even say, well, that was 175. I mean, he got tooled, dude.
I'd rather be... Man, okay.
So much so that when he did that interview on DirecTV, who's it, with Joe Buck?
Yeah.
Was it Joe Buck?
Yeah.
They didn't even bring that fight up.
You break the tie. I think I'd rather be... What was the question again?
Would you rather,
I don't want to be Chuck is what I'm saying. So I'd rather be Hoist. Yeah. How about you?
I would still say I'd rather be Hoist because even though I totally agree as far as like the ground and what he's known for, and that fight was big if you were around at the time. I get all that, but it's street justice out there in the world of the internet, guys. And in street justice, it's GIFs in the world of the internet, or internet street justice, I should say. And that's sadly the way our kind of culture, not just our MMA fans, kind of revert to. And having a guy like CM Punk having a scoreboard on you versus a guy like Matt Hughes, it's gonna look
But
bad.
the question was Tito beating Chuck.
Oh, Tito
versus Matt beating Hoist. You got 20 seconds.
You know what? Then I'll go back. I'll go the other way on that one. Yeah, okay. I'd rather.
Surprisingly, that was a question that befuddled me. So maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. I want to thank our guest for today, Rafael dos Anjos, former UFC lightweight champion, now competing at welterweight, and he'll face Kamaru Usman on Monday. Thanks to the UFC team for lining that one up. And tomorrow we got Rick Glenn and Chris Gutierrez in studio. They both fight at that finale, and Sean O'Connell. So stay close, or see you tomorrow. Be champions.
Blackjack and poker and the roulette.